Have you ever wondered why women can sometimes be so hard to read? Why it feels like you're constantly missing something, even though you're doing everything you think you should? Well, today, I'm going to reveal the hidden side of female psychology, the side that 99% of men are completely unaware of. If you grasp this, it might just change your love life forever. Before we dive in, if you're serious about understanding women and transforming your relationships, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss a video. Also, smash that like button if you're ready to decode the mystery of female psychology. Trust me, you're going to want to stay until the end, because what I'm about to share with you is the key to building deeper connections that most men will never even realize exist. Now, let me take you back to a story that perfectly illustrates this concept. There was a guy named Alex, and on the surface, he was doing everything right. He was successful, good-looking, and funny, a guy who had everything going for him. But when it came to women, he always seemed to fall short. No matter how hard he tried, he could never fully connect, and eventually, every relationship he started would fizzle out. One evening, after yet another breakup, Alex sat down with his friend Sarah, who had always been his confidant. He poured his heart out, saying, "I just don't get it. I do everything right, but it never works out." Sarah looked at him, a knowing smile creeping across her face, and said, "You're missing it. Alex, there are places in a woman's mind and heart that you've never even considered. You see, women have a whole world inside them that most men never take the time to explore." And that's when it hit Alex. Like most men, he was trying to solve the puzzle from the outside using the logical, straightforward approach that worked in every other area of his life. But women are different. They don't always communicate directly. Their desires, fears, and needs are often unspoken, and they lie beneath the surface, waiting for someone who is willing to truly understand them. This is where 99% of men get it wrong. They believe that if they look good, make enough money, and say all the right things, they'll win a woman over. But they completely miss the invisible layers of female psychology that are infinitely more important. The emotional places where women want to be understood, valued, and seen. The 5 key places in female psychology. Sarah began to explain these hidden places to Alex, and as she did, he felt like he was unlocking secrets he never knew existed. And today, I'm going to share these 5 key places with you, so you never find yourself lost again. 1. The place of emotional security. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you were doing everything right, but somehow you just couldn't break through that invisible barrier? Maybe you've had those moments where you thought, "Why isn't she opening up to me? Why does it feel like she's holding back?" If you've ever been in that situation, then you've experienced the missing piece we're about to dive into: emotional security. Imagine this: you're on a date and everything's going great. You're laughing, you're having fun, but there's still something in her eyes that's guarded, something that tells you she's not fully letting her guard down. Most men assume it's just a matter of time, that if they keep doing what they're doing, she eventually open up. But here's the secret: women need to feel safe, emotionally safe, to fully let you in. And this isn't just about being a nice guy or saying the right things. It's about being the person she feels she can be her true, unfiltered self around. Let's make it personal for a moment. Think back to your past relationships. Can you remember a time when a woman tried to share something deep or vulnerable with you, but you didn't give it the attention it deserved? Maybe you changed the topic, made a joke, or brushed it off because it felt uncomfortable. That's the moment she felt that emotional door close a little tighter. And even though you may not have realized it, you missed an opportunity to connect with her on a deeper level. There's a story about a guy named James that illustrates this perfectly. James had been dating this amazing woman named Mia for a few months, and everything seemed to be going well. But one evening, while they were having dinner, Mia shared something from her past, a painful memory about how she felt abandoned by someone she loved deeply. And do you know what James did? He panicked. He wasn't sure how to respond. So he made a light-hearted comment to brush it off, thinking it would lighten the mood. But in that moment, Mia's eyes dimmed. She felt like James wasn't the person she could truly open up to. And from that day forward, there was always a little distance between them. Now, here's where it gets interesting. A few weeks later, Mia met another guy. Ben, and Ben, unlike James, didn't shy away from her emotions. When Mia shared that same story with him, he didn't try to fix it or make a joke. Instead, he looked her in the eyes and said, "I can't even imagine how hard that must have been for you. Thank you for sharing that with me." And in that moment, Mia felt something she hadn't felt with James' emotional security. You see, women are not looking for someone to solve their problems or always say the perfect thing. They're looking for someone who can hold space for their emotions, someone who can be present, even when things get uncomfortable. That's what makes a woman feel truly safe. And once she feels that with you, she begins to open up in ways you've never experienced before. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you really listened to a woman without trying to interrupt, judge, or fix her problems? When was the last time you made her feel like her emotions were valid, like she was safe to be herself with you, no matter how messy or complicated things got? I want you to picture this. Imagine you're sitting across from the woman you care about, and she's telling you something that's obviously difficult for her. Instead of rushing to give advice, you take a deep breath, lean in and say, "I'm here, and I'm listening." You give her the space to share whatever's on her heart, without feeling like she has to edit or censor herself. And in that moment, she realizes that you're not just any man. You're the man who's willing to be her safe place, her emotional anchor. This is the kind of connection that 99% of men miss out on because they're too focused on what they think they should be doing, instead of just being present and creating a space for emotional security. When a woman feels emotionally safe, she stops holding back. She starts to reveal the deepest parts of herself, the parts she's kept hidden from the rest of the world. And that's when you know you've tapped into something real. So, next time you're with a woman you care about, remember this: don't just hear her, listen to her. Don't just be in the room, be present. Show her that her feelings matter to you. Even when they're messy, even when they're complicated, and even when you don't have all the answers. Because when she feels that level of emotional security, she starts to see you as more than just a man. She see you as the man she's been waiting for. And if you've ever felt that connection with someone, even for a moment, you know how powerful it can be. If you're still watching, you're already ahead of most guys, because you're willing to learn, to grow, and to truly understand what makes a woman feel safe and secure. And that, my friend, is the first step to becoming the kind of man who's not just unforgettable, but irreplaceable. Stay with me, because the next point is just as important. And trust me, you won't want to miss it. 2. The place of validation. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you truly made a woman feel valued? And I'm not talking about telling her she looks good or saying she's beautiful. Those are nice, but they barely scratch the surface of what she really craves. I'm talking about making her feel seen, appreciated, and valued for who she is, beyond just the surface level. Let's take a moment to go back to one of your relationships. Maybe there was a time when you felt like you were doing all the right things, but somehow it still wasn't enough. You took her out on dates, told her she looked amazing, and made sure you were always there when she needed you. But despite all your efforts, something was missing. There was a gap between you, and you couldn't figure out why. This is exactly what happened to a guy named Mark. He was dating this incredible woman, Emily. She was smart, funny, and had a way of lighting up a room. And Mark thought he had it all figured out. He made sure to compliment her looks, buy her gifts, and do all the things he thought would keep her interested. But deep down, Emily still felt like there was something he didn't see, something he wasn't acknowledging. One evening, Emily told Mark about a project she'd been working on at her job, something she was incredibly proud of. But Mark, distracted and not really paying attention, just said, "That's great, babe," and moved on to another topic. He didn't ask her about the details, didn't celebrate her accomplishment, and didn't acknowledge the hard work she'd put into it. And right there, in that moment, Emily felt something shift. She thought, does he even know who I really am? Does he see me beyond just being his girlfriend? You see, most men focus on what's obvious looks, attractiveness, the things that everyone else notices. But the place of validation goes so much deeper. Women want to feel that you appreciate their unique qualities, the things that make them who they are. They want to know that you're not just with them because they're beautiful, but because you genuinely admire who they are as a person. Ask yourself this: have you ever missed out on an opportunity to truly appreciate a woman in your life? Have you ever brushed off her achievements or failed to notice the little things that make her special? If you're honest with yourself, you might realize that there were times when you didn't give her the validation she needed. Imagine this scenario. You're with the woman you care about, and she's telling you about something she's passionate about. Maybe it's a book she's been reading, a project she's been working on, or a hobby that lights up her eyes. Most guys would nod, smile, and maybe say something like, "That's nice." But you're not most guys. You lean in, ask questions, and show genuine interest. You say things like, "Wow, that's amazing. I can see how much effort you've put into this. I'm really proud of you." In that moment, she feels seen. She feels like you're not just hearing her words, but truly listening to her heart. Let me share another quick story with you. There was a time when Mark decided to try something different. After months of just going through the motions, he decided to really pay attention to Emily. One day, she mentioned that she had finally completed a painting she'd been working on for weeks. Instead of just saying, "That's cool," Mark asked her to show it to him. He listened as she explained the inspiration behind it, why it mattered to her, and what she hoped to express through it. And when she finished, he looked her in the eyes and said, "Emily, this is incredible. You have such a gift. And I'm so lucky to be with someone who's this talented and passionate." For the first time in a long while, Emily felt understood, appreciated, and validated. And that's the power of validation. When you make a woman feel like she's valued for who she is, her intelligence, her creativity, her sense of humor, she begins to feel a deeper connection with you. She starts to see you as someone who truly understands her. And that's a feeling she never forget. Let's take a moment here and reflect. When was the last time you truly made the woman you care about feel appreciated for her unique qualities? Not just her looks, not just the way she makes you feel, but her passions, dreams, and ambitions? The more you tap into this place of validation, the more she feels drawn to you, because you're showing her something that most men never will, that you see her, the real her. So, here's what I want you to do the next time you're with a woman you care about. Take a moment to truly notice something about her that others might overlook. Maybe it's the way she lights up when she talks about her passions, the way she's always there for her friends, or how she handles challenges with grace and strength. Tell her you see it, that you appreciate it, and that it's one of the reasons why you're so drawn to her. Because when you do this, you're not just validating her, you're showing her that you're different from every other guy out there. You're showing her that you're the man who truly understands her worth. So, if you're still here with me, I know you're committed to getting this right. And that means you're already ahead of the game. Stay tuned, because the next point is going to take you even deeper into the world of female psychology. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. 3. The place of mystery. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you felt genuinely curious about someone? I mean, truly intrigued, like you couldn't wait to discover more about them? That's exactly how women want to feel about you. You see, one of the biggest mistakes men make is being an open book from the very beginning, thinking that the more they share, the closer the woman will feel to them. But here's the truth, women are drawn to a sense of mystery. They want to feel like there's more to you than what meets the eye, that there are layers to peel back. secrets to uncover, and stories left to be told. Think back to the start of one of your past relationships. Remember that feeling of excitement when you didn't know everything about each other yet? It's that excitement, that sense of wonder that creates attraction. But as time went on, maybe you started to become predictable. You fell into routines, said the same things, and did the same activities. And that initial spark began to fade. This is why maintaining a sense of mystery is so important. Take the story of Jack, for example. Jack was a good guy, but he always laid everything out on the table right from the start. He'd tell women everything about his life, his past relationships, his job, and even what he was planning for the next weekend all on the first few dates. And do you know what happened? The women he dated lost interest quickly because there was nothing left for them to discover. But Jack's friend Ethan took a different approach. Ethan didn't reveal everything all at once. He would share bits and pieces of his life over time, leaving room for curiosity. He'd tell stories about his travels, but he wouldn't give away every detail. He'd mention his passion for music, but wouldn't reveal that he played guitar until much later. This sense of mystery made women want to know more, to dig deeper, and to keep coming back. The key is to remember that it's not about playing games. It's about showing that you're a man who has a rich, full life. Someone who's constantly growing, evolving, and who has more to offer than what's immediately obvious. So think about it. How can you introduce a little bit of mystery into your interactions? How can you show that there's always something more to learn about you? If you're still with me, you're already starting to understand that being mysterious isn't about hiding who you are. It's about revealing yourself slowly, allowing her to feel that excitement of discovering you. Stay tuned because the next point is just as important. 4. The place of challenge. Now, let's dive into something most men shy away from: the idea of challenging a woman. And I don't mean arguing with her or being difficult for no reason. I'm talking about being a man who isn't afraid to stand his ground, who has his own opinions, passions, and beliefs, and who challenges her to think, grow, and be her best self. Let me ask you this: have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you had to agree with everything she said just to keep the peace? Or maybe you thought that by always saying yes and being easygoing, you'd be more likable. If that's the case, I want you to think back to how that turned out. Did it make her feel more attracted to you? Probably not. Because deep down, women don't want a man who's a pushover. They want someone who's strong, confident, and willing to challenge them. Let's talk about Ryan and his girlfriend, Jenna. Ryan was the kind of guy who always agreed with whatever Jenna said. If she wanted to go to a certain restaurant, he'd say yes. If she had an opinion on a topic, he'd nod along, even if he didn't really agree. He thought this would make him the perfect boyfriend. But instead, Jenna started to feel bored and unchallenged. Then there's Tom. Tom wasn't afraid to speak his mind. If he disagreed with Jenna, he'd say so, but always with respect. When she shared her thoughts, he would challenge her, ask her why she felt that way, and offer his perspective. And guess what? Jenna found herself more attracted to Tom, because he wasn't just going along with everything. He was showing her that he was his own person with his own ideas and beliefs. Here's the thing: women want a man who's willing to be honest and authentic, even if that means challenging them from time to time. It shows that you respect her enough to be real with her, that you see her as an equal who's capable of handling a bit of pushback. So if you've ever felt like you've been too agreeable or too afraid to share your true thoughts, I want you to try something different. And the next time you're having a conversation, don't be afraid to respectfully challenge her. Ask her why she feels a certain way. Share your own perspective. And don't be afraid to stand your ground. If you've stayed with me this far, it means you're ready to become a man who isn't afraid to be himself. And trust me, that's exactly the kind of man women are looking for. Stay with me because we've got more to uncover. 5. The place of emotional intimacy. Let's take a moment to talk about respect, something so fundamental yet often overlooked. Now, I want you to ask yourself, When was the last time you truly showed a woman that you respect her not just as your partner, but as an individual with her own dreams, ambitions, and desires? It's easy to say, of course I respect her. But respect goes far beyond just being polite or courteous. It's about valuing her opinions, supporting her goals, and appreciating her for the person she is outside of the relationship. Think back to one of your past relationships. Was there a time when you didn't give your partner the respect she deserved? Maybe you dismissed her ideas. Or perhaps you didn't take her career or ambitions as seriously as you should have. These little moments, although they might seem insignificant at the time, slowly chip away at the foundation of respect that every relationship needs to thrive. Let's dive into a story that makes this idea crystal clear. Meet Alex and Sarah. Sarah was a talented writer who had always dreamed of publishing her own novel. She spent countless hours working on her manuscript, pouring her heart and soul into every page. But whenever she mentioned her dreams to Alex, he would say things like, "That's nice, but are you sure it's a practical career? Or maybe you should focus on something more stable." He thought he was being helpful, but what he was really doing was undermining her passion, her ambition, and her sense of self. Then there's Chris, another guy who was dating a woman named Lisa. Lisa was also working on a novel, but unlike Alex, Chris genuinely believed in her. He encouraged her, read her drafts, and even helped her brainstorm ideas when she felt stuck. He showed Lisa that he respected her dreams just as much as she did, and that right there made all the difference. You see, women are incredibly perceptive when it comes to respect. They can sense when you genuinely value them, and when you're just paying lip service. Respect is about more than just words. It's about actions. It's about showing up, supporting her, and letting her know that her dreams, opinions, and goals matter just as much as yours. Here's a question for you. Are you truly respecting the women in your life? Are you supporting them in their ambitions, listening to their ideas, and valuing their opinions, even when they're different from your own? Because if you're not, you're missing out on an opportunity to build a connection that goes far beyond the surface level. Imagine this: the next time she shares a dream or a goal with you, instead of brushing it off or offering unsolicited advice, you look her in the eyes and say, "I believe in you, and I'm here to support you every step of the way." Can you feel the difference that would make? If you're still watching, I know you're committed to being the kind of man who doesn't just talk about respect, but lives it every day. And that, my friend, is what separates the 1% of men who truly understand women from the rest. Stay with me because there's more to uncover. Conclusion. So, if you're ready to start seeing women differently, if you're ready to stop being one of the 99% who never truly understand them, then hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments what place you've been missing out on the most. Trust me, you won't want to miss what I've got coming up next. And remember, if you take the time to understand these hidden places, you'll not only change your relationships with women, but your entire perspective on love and connection. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.